Channon Rose is a social media influencer, published author, and entrepreneur. She has over 1.5 million followers across social media platforms and over 300 million views on her YouTube channel. She makes lifestyle and vlogging videos with her family and has written 2 autobiographies about her life story. I invited her here because her story is super inspiring, and so many of you need to hear her talk about that. So we are very blessed to have her. Let's give her a big, warm round of applause.
Thank you, Heather. That's so nice. First, I just want to say before I start is that I'm going to be talking about some sensitive things. So if anybody gets like triggered easily, you have my permission to leave. I won't get offended. I totally understand. And thank you, Heather, for having me. I'm like very, very grateful to be here. And I'm also really nervous. This is like my first time I've ever done like public speaking. So, I'm like, how does this thing work?
Shannon, point right here. Point right here.
Oh,
other one's down. He's not working, the guy.
okay. It's like technical difficulties. There we go. Okay, so what do I do for work? So I am a YouTuber. I create content for social media. I also wrote some books, and I am a real estate investor and an entrepreneur, like a lot of you guys. Oops. So I'm also a wife and a mom. I have 2 kids. Snow is my oldest, and Storm, and yes, those are their real names. They were my little IVF miracle babies, so they do have like special meaning behind those names, and if you're curious, feel free to ask me after. I'd be happy to share the stories behind them. So I am like a total grandma in my free time. I like to garden, and like specifically like veggie garden. Does anybody else like to do that in here? Oh my gosh, really? Okay, I don't feel so bad. Let's all be friends after this. I also really love to like bake. I like making bread, and I'm obsessed with shopping at thrift stores. It's like my favorite thing to do. Yeah, it's like a treasure hunt. This whole outfit is from the thrift store, like even my shoes and everything. I love it. That's so cool. Yeah, so that's like what I like to do in my free time. But I was asked to come here today to share my story about how I went from being a child prostitute and then going into the porn industry to becoming a successful social media influencer. So that's kind of what I'm going to do today, is tell you kind of that journey of how I got there. And like, yes, that's really me, by the way. This is like, did anybody else go through like a scary phase? So how did it all start? You might think like, Shannon, like how do you become a child prostitute? Like how does that even happen? It's an interesting story, so I'll tell you. So growing up, I was like a really, really bad kid. I got kicked out of like every school I went to. In fact, I got kicked out of Los Angeles Unified School District, which is like a really hard thing to do. And I was in and out of psychiatric hospitals. I was suicidal. I was doing drugs. I was drinking. Like everything that you could think of, like that you don't want your kid to do, I was doing all of that. And my mom at some point even like sent me away to like an all-girls lockdown facility in Colorado. We were living in California at the time, and she actually like drugged me to get me on a plane, and to like she's like, I gotta straighten her up. So like I woke up in this place and it didn't work. But yeah, so that was kind of like my childhood. Also, I was 14 in that picture to the left. And if you're wondering, like, and that's a real tattoo, by the way. If you're wondering, like, it doesn't really look like you, it's because I've had 3 nose jobs, so it kind of like changes your face. But that is me. So if you're thinking like, where were your parents during all of this? I actually grew up and like life was like totally good and normal for me. My parents were like very loving and kind, but they got divorced, which I'm sure a lot of people's parents get divorced. And it wasn't so much, I think, the divorce that like screwed me up. It was more of my stepmom, who was extremely abusive. in a lot of different ways. And I don't want to get like too personal with some of that stuff, but and I could like go on for hours and hours about like my crazy life, but that's why I wrote 2 books. But it would just start with little things like, you know, she would tell me like I was fat, or like, you know, we would go through like a McDonald's drive-through, and she would get like all the kids Happy Meals except for me, and I'd be like, where's my Happy Meal? And you know, she'd be like, well, you know, we're trying to watch your weight, so you know, I think like maybe you should have skipped this meal, you know, like little things like that. I think that, you know, when you're really little, it kind of like can like eat away at like your self-esteem a little bit. And so do you guys want like a crazy story or not really? Yeah. Okay. So and this one's in my book, so I'll tell it because I've told it before, but the way that I got into like my first psychiatric hospital, my stepmom and my dad were having a fight one night, and she started like drinking and like taking pills, and it was just like a bad night for her. Well, in the middle of the night that night, she came in my room and she locked the door, and then she like took me to the bathroom in my room and locked that door. And I was like, what is she doing? Like I knew she was crazy, but I was like, what is she doing?
How old?
I don't know exactly, but I want to say like maybe 9 or 10. And she pulled a razor blade out of her robe pocket and started cutting my wrists. And I actually like still have like the scars today on my wrists. And she admitted me to my first psychiatric hospital because she told them I was trying to kill myself. So I got a lot of like just crazy things that have probably happened to all of us, you know, like I'm sure maybe not as dramatic as my story, but I feel like so many of us have gone through like traumatic things when we're younger, and it could really, like Tiffany was saying, it could really like screw you up when you get older. And this is not like a victim story at all. Like I'm not saying this for anybody to like feel bad for me. I'm saying this because I feel like it's one of the things that made me, I think, today so successful. Because when you're little, you have to be like a fighter when you like go through stuff like that. So, all right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so how did I get into porn? That was an accident. When I was younger, when I was 15, I broke my back in a car accident. I got in a car with a drunk driver because I was just like crazy. I was like doing all kinds of really bad stuff. And I broke my back, and I got a settlement. So like when I turned 18, I got that money, and I had never had that much money before, and I had never been taught how to have money. And so I got $80,000. I spent it in the first 4 months. And you guys are like, Shannon, you're so dumb. Like, you should have put that in real estate. Like, I didn't know, you know, then. So I had like a deadbeat boyfriend at the time who wasn't working, and I had like spent all this money, and I paid for like my first semester of college. Then my money was gone, and I was like, well, how do I pay for rent the next month? I didn't know how. And a lot of people are probably thinking like, you're so dumb. Like, how did you not think that you have to like pay rent the next month? Like, don't you think about that? Like, you need to have a job. Like, I was really in a dark place and like suicidal. I didn't even think I was going to live to the next month. So I wasn't thinking about those things. So my boyfriend at the time was like, oh, you should go do amateur night at the strip club. And I was like, yeah, that's never going to happen. Because I didn't feel pretty or like, you know, like sexy at all. But I had no money. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get really drunk and do it. I had no idea. I'd never been in a strip club before. I didn't even know like what you wear. I wore a bikini and like, you know, those like platform thong sandals. That's what I wore to go dance at the strip club. Anyways, amateur night, I won first place. It was actually really fun. I'm not gonna lie. I got to like get drunk and like got paid to like dance and party. So I was like, this is awesome. I'm gonna keep doing this. So then one night at the strip club, some guy approached me and he's like, oh, like, would you ever want to do nude modeling? And I was like, yeah, for sure. Like, I already dance naked. Like, I could do that. So I went to this like modeling agency and it was a porn agency. And they told me like, oh, we mainly do porn. And I was like, oh no, like, there's no way I could ever do that. Like, I was like never gonna happen. I'm so sorry for wasting your time. But he told me how much money I can make, and I was like, okay, just kidding, where do I sign up? So that's how I got into porn, and I did that for 8 years, like off and on. And that was a very wild journey. Oh wait, let me go back. I ended up, I remember this like very clearly. I was in New York, and I had just finished doing an interview on Howard Stern, and I got like super drunk that night, and I tried to kill myself in my hotel bathroom. And I ended up in Bellevue State Psychiatric Hospital in New York. And I woke up and I was like, oh gosh, I do not want to be here. I've been to a lot of mental hospitals, and this was really not a fun one. So I ended up like escaping that hospital, like true story. And I just remember like walking barefoot like in New York to like a taxi and thinking like, I can't live like this anymore. Like I hate my life. So I'm like, I've practiced this so many times so I wouldn't cry. And it was like, I almost felt like it was like a God moment. And so like I went on this like quest for like salvation. Sorry, I'm gonna get my period. I think that's like why I'm emotional. So I actually watched The Secret. I don't know if anyone's seen that, like the law of attraction. So for me, like growing up, like no one taught me like, oh, you can do whatever you want, you know, like you just have to go do it. And so I saw that and I was like, holy shit, I could do whatever I want. Like, that's so cool. Like life just doesn't happen to you. So I started to, after that, realize that I had control of my life, and that, you know, maybe I could do something that I wanted to do. I had to like break those like trauma barriers that like I was taught and like instilled in me at a young age. So I decided I'm gonna get out of porn, and I think I'm gonna like try to make my life like a better place. But I didn't know like what I was gonna do. I had no idea, because like who's gonna hire an ex-porn star, right? Like I had ever since I was a little girl, like that's all I knew was like selling my body for money. So I didn't know, like I had no skills, you know, and I went to like the Fashion Institute for like a month. Like I really knew like nothing. So I'm so grateful for like masterminds like this. So thank you, Heather, for creating a place for people like me to learn. I ended up getting into social media, also an accident. Let me go to this next slide really quick. Also, this is my socials in case anyone wants to be my friend. So this is kind of a funny picture, but so I got into YouTube because my sister wanted to find out like how to do makeup. So she's like, oh, can you make a video? So because she lived far from me, so I can watch it over and over. So I can like figure out how to do my makeup, because clearly I know how to do makeup. Like that's what I look like with no makeup on. So I made this makeup video and I posted it on YouTube, and that was my first YouTube video, and I wasn't expecting anybody to watch it. But to my surprise, other people other than my sister watched it, and they were like, oh, could you do another makeup video? And I was like, oh, okay. And they're like the cringiest videos you will ever watch in your life. And they're still up, by the way. Like if you go to my YouTube channel, it has over 1 million subscribers. If you go all the way back to the beginning, those were like the most cringy YouTube videos. So if anybody's like wanting to start a YouTube channel and you think like people that have a lot of subscribers don't post horrible videos, like we do. We all have been there and all do. And then I posted some more makeup videos, and then someone commented like, hey, aren't you that girl that did porn? And usually for most people, they'd be like, oh gosh, like I don't, you know, like go and hide. But I was just like, yeah, like that was me. And then there were a lot of people after seeing that comment that were like very interested in my past in porn. They were like, oh, you did? Like, what was that like? Like, you know, it was interesting to them. So I started making storytime videos about my past in porn. And at this point, I didn't know that you can make money on YouTube. But I found out that you could. And then ever since then, I posted a new video on YouTube every single day for a year. And I also responded to every single comment that I got. And that was how I grew my YouTube channel. It was because I was posting about things that most people would never want to talk about. But YouTube has been like such an amazing opportunity for me. And it could, like, social media could be amazing for everyone. And I really hope that after my talk, I encourage you guys to maybe start like social media if you've been wanting to, because if someone like me could be successful on social media, like anyone can. You remember Tiffany in her talk, she was like, the guy that was, she's like, what was the guy that was doing something? And you were like, well, no offense, but like if you can do it, I could definitely do it, you know? That's how I feel with all of you guys. But there's so many opportunities to take. So once I built my following, I was like, okay, how do I leverage my audience? And so I did subscription boxes, I did a makeup line, merch. You guys can do like trainings and courses. I did like a life-changing workshop on like how I changed my life around and like things that I did. I charged like $13 on my Patreon, so it's like affordable for everybody. So these are just like ideas of maybe like you guys can think or get inspiration. Also books. I talked to some people here that had wanted to write their own books. And once you build up your social media following, I think that's a great thing to do. Like I'm not a good writer. Like I didn't go to school. If you read my books, you're like, yeah, she definitely did not go to school for this. But you know, it's me and it's my story, and people know that I wrote it and didn't just like hire a ghostwriter, you know? And so if you're comfortable sharing your story, like I'm sure so many people would want to read it. I wrote mine not thinking that anybody would read it. It was more like therapeutic for me to write my books. But I've gotten so much really good feedback of people that have had similar situations or struggled in similar situations and made them feel less alone. And it made me feel really good to know that like I was able to help other people. And also anytime I write a book, I have to go like on a trip, because like YouTube, when you do social media, you have like that freedom to be able to work remote. And so I always say if I'm going to write a book, I'm going to go somewhere pretty to do it. I also wrote like a cookbook. I'm not a cook. And I also wrote a children's book for my daughter. Another like a really cool thing about social media, if any of you guys are like interested on also adding that to like your revenue stream, everyone talks about like having like multiple streams of income. Social media is a great one because once you do start making, there's so many different ways to make money on social media, like affiliate. Tiffany, I'm sorry I keep mentioning your name, but just because I've heard you talk so much, does like affiliate marketing. Like there's so many opportunities and ways to make money. And I was able to travel, so we like rented our house out for a year, and we bought an RV, this one here, and we traveled for a year and got to go to like so many amazing places like all over and do things that I would have never been able to do otherwise. And also people, like some people don't ever get to do that ever, you know, and then some people wait till they're retired to do it. And we got to have that opportunity, and that's what social media gave to us. It's done so much for me, and it's like been so life-changing that I really always like want to encourage and inspire others to start it, because I know how much it's helped me, and I think there's so many ways that it could help you guys too. So just quickly, this is like my dream house, and I never ever in a million years, when I thought like I wanted to die and hated my life, that I would have a life like this, and like be able to buy my dream house. I just bought my first Airbnb, so I'm really excited. I just wanted to share that just because I know everyone's into real estate, so that's what I'm doing. And then this is just a quote really quick. I'd rather be hated for who I am than loved for who I'm not. And it's just something that I think is like really powerful, because people are so scared to be judged these days. But I feel like if we're just like authentically ourselves, like you're gonna attract the people that that you want in your lives. So yeah, that's it. Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, it's like I actually have it tattooed on me, on my back. So yeah, that's it. And thank you.
So tell us more about your YouTube. Like, how do you go about making money from it and all your different channels?
Yeah, that's a great question. So YouTube alone is, I make money through AdSense, through brand deals, and brand deals, AdSense. If I did like merch, so sometimes for like a holiday, I'll make like special merch for my followers, just like something fun that I do. My main sources of income are Patreon, which I didn't even mention. But it's like YouTube is just like a paid platform.
Tell them what Patreon is.
So Patreon is just like a YouTube, but it's like a paid version of it. So, it's like a subscription base where you sign up. So for me, I have like exclusive videos that I'll post, like little daily vlogs or like inspirational, motivational things, a day in my life, exclusive just for them on there. And then they'll pay like $10 a month to watch that.
Do you have a bunch of like porn stars that look up to you that want to get out of it?
I honestly have no idea. I know like OnlyFans is really big right now. The thing is, it's like I've never said like porn is a bad thing, because I would never want to judge somebody else. I don't know their story and like why they're doing something. So I try really hard like not to say like that it was bad. But for me, like I wasn't happy doing it, and I know I was doing it for the wrong reasons. So even though it was like fun and stuff when you're young, like now that I'm older, I'm like, what was I thinking, it's like forever follows you. So it's just, I don't know if there are. They don't reach out to me. I don't think that's my audience, to be honest. I think my audience are like moms and stuff, I think. I probably should know that, but I don't look at my stats. But one of the reasons I got, and so I will say, because I say like, social media is really amazing, and it really is. There's so many more pros than cons. But there also are challenges, and anybody that has like a good sized following will know that like you get like trolls, and that could be like a problem. I know for me personally, they go after all of my brand deals. So anytime I post, I've worked really hard for 10 years. I've been doing this, and like worked really hard to change my life around. And I'm doing really well. I'm able to support my whole family just on my one income. Like my husband is a stay-at-home dad, and so I feel like okay, we're good, like successful. But my brand deals, like anytime I get a brand deal, I get really excited, because I'm like, okay, this is really good. I'm not having to like take my clothes off to like make money. And then they my trolls will contact the brands, like they'll call them, they'll email them, and basically pull the brand deal down. So that really sucks for me personally. Obviously that might not be like your issue, but that's why I really wanted to do like real estate, because they the trolls can't take that from me. So yeah. Any other questions?
Do you think that trolls come from like your past life, or they're just crazy?
You know what? I think they're just crazy. I don't think it's anybody I know.
How are they able to do that?
So it's just anytime there's like any conflict, when someone contacts a brand, they get scared, so they don't want to like deal with it. Yeah, it's a bummer, but it is what it is, and I just find other ways to make money, work around it.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you still struggle with like I know you said you were like in hospitals a lot. Is that still a struggle, and how do you become more proactive about it?
Yeah, so I definitely have mental health issues. So I have like really bad anxiety and a lot of like trauma stuff. So I do therapy, and also like a huge, because I am comfortable sharing like my story and things that have happened to me, sharing on YouTube actually is really like really good for me. Like I like it. It helps me, I think, a lot. And I'm on Zoloft, so that helps too. Really amazing parents, but they worked a lot and were always gone. So I was kind of like a latchkey kid. But I really don't want people to think like, oh, poor thing, because it's what's given me like the strength to like make myself successful, to depend on nobody but myself. I've turned like all the horrible things that have happened to me in my life that would usually prevent someone from thinking that they could be successful, and I used those things to make me successful.
But I'm asking, where was your father in this when the stepmom, who obviously married her,
Mm-hmm.
where was he in the picture when she was cutting him?
He was sleeping.
And he thought you were cutting yourself?
Well, so she told him that I tried to kill myself. And my dad at the
They didn't
time,
believe you?
no, they didn't believe me because they just think like if you think about it, it's like a little girl. I had mental health issues as it is, but also, you know, you think like, oh, she just doesn't like the stepmom, you know, because she's like jealous of her. You know what I mean? So I think that's what they thought.
Where is your mom in this picture?
Oh no, it's okay. Any other questions? Oh.
I had a stepmonster as well.
Oh no.
My question's not about that.
Okay.
But my question is, you talk about trolls coming in and trying to take brand deals away.
Yeah.
Are you going to create your own brand? Because I think it would be amazing.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I've actually tried to do that, especially because like it really hurts. Like I don't know, it's so weird, but like every time I get a brand, it's almost like a friend, like being like, oh, you're really cool and popular. Like I want to be your friend, and then like someone else is like, oh, we don't like her, and then they're like, we don't want to be friends with you. I know it sounds like so, but that's like how it feels, you know. And I've dealt with it over and over and over and over again. But I tried doing that where I did my own like company, but it just wasn't really working. Like wasn't very successful. So it's okay. I like real estate way better, and I think it'll make me a lot more money. So yeah.
So what's your biggest roadblock right now?
I think we've spent a lot of our own money on everything. We haven't like used other people's money. So I need to watch more of your classes and yeah, I think that. And also just wanting to make more money in my business so I can buy more real estate.
Now that you have a large group of followers, how often are you responding to comments now? Like, I know you were before, like all of them.
Yeah, I wish that I could respond to every single person. I try really hard to, but it's just not. That's one thing I don't want to give up is hiring someone else to respond to my comments because I really love what I do when I make videos. It's my way of like having that community, and so I can't always respond to everyone, but I try to respond to as many as I can when I have the time.
I pay a 16-year-old $1,000 a month to respond to all of my comments.
You're smart.
I respond to the ones that I want to, and when he knows that it's like something he knows I would want to see and comment to, he sends me the screenshots all day. Like, you want to comment back to this? And I was like, okay. But like the reality is, if you truly want to maximize the platform or whatever, like someone needs to respond to every single thing.
Yeah, it's true. And I think that you grow a lot faster. But I just like, I got to get over that hurdle. I feel so bad not responding myself. Also because I'm scared. I'm like, oh, what if they say the wrong thing, you know, to somebody. So this drama is like next level on YouTube. Yeah.
Since one of the things that you do to help people is give them your transformation, like the roadmap. You know, we all have things that are hard. We all talk about like, what is your advice to the room on how to? What's like your what should we do when we want to transform through a struggle?
So it was kind of hard to hear you, but you said like, what do you do if you want to like transforming or going through something hard? I think like to have a really good support group. That was something I didn't have, and I wish I did. And also like I just didn't trust anybody, so I think that was hard for me. But I think it's different for everyone. Now there's YouTube. Back then I didn't have like YouTube or, you know, coaches or mentors. But you could just call me, and I'll you can talk to me.
Make some vlogs about it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Hi. Is that everything? Oh, yeah.
So obviously your platforms are big enough now where brands are like reaching out to you most likely, but like in the beginning, I know a lot of influencers will like reach out to brands. So how do you do you have to do that, or how do you recommend doing that?
So do you want to work with brands? Do you have like specific brands? So I would recommend like writing down on a piece of paper specific brands you want to work with, and then putting like a picture, like a media kit together. I don't know if you're on my Zoom call, but it's on replays if you want to watch it. Yeah. Put a media kit together, send that out to those brands, and just be really persistent until you get a brand deal with them. That's my advice. Any other questions? No?
You're amazing, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you.
Okay, ladies, we are done for tonight. Today was a long day.